Good day. I am Mac Church with Atlantic Coast Mortgage. I have been in the mortgage industry for 21 years, and I am in the top 1% in the nation for all mortgage originators. I'm also a six-time winner as Best Mortgage Lender in the greater Fredericksburg area, and I was voted 2023 Affiliate of the Year for Prince William Association of Realtors. I have a team with my loan officer, Ben Bisco, and I have a production manager named Tiffany Kendall. And between us, we have 45 years of combined experience. However, the best news is that you can often find us on the Virginia Housing First Time Buyers top producer list. And that's what leads us to today's discussion, the Prince William First Time Home Buyers Program. This is an amazing program that we have used for several buyers. And there's a lot of great things about it. There's a lot of rules and regulations. And so today we're going to dissect this program to give you a little information about it and to help you with the knowledge of knowing about this program so that you can mention it to your first-time home buyers in hopes that we can get them pre-approved for this loan, because it can be a game changer, a life changer, and really help make someone's dreams come true of owning a home. Now, this loan is for first-time home buyers, and they must currently live in either Prince William County or Manassas, and they do have to meet the income and eligibility requirements of the program, which can be pretty strict. This is a down payment assistance grant in the form of a loan. It's an interest-free loan for 30 years, and it will cover either 20% or 30% down payment of the purchase price. And again, it's in the form of an interest-free loan, and an additional 3% can be added to the loan to cover closing costs. So total, it can be between 23 and 33% of the purchase price. Now, the max sales price is $450,000. We do know it's pretty difficult to find a place in Prince William County or Manassas for that price, but they are out there. And there is a debt to income restriction, and that restriction is 35% for housing and 45% for total debt to income ratios. So again, it is a little tighter than most programs. However, Prince William County wants to make sure that anyone that uses their program to buy a home can indeed afford the payments. Now, in addition to the debt to income and sales price, the house must pass a property inspection by a Prince William County field employee to make sure that the home meets sanitary, safety, and marketability standards. So it's almost kind of like a home inspection / appraisal without any value added, just to make sure that the house is in a livable condition. So what are the requirements for the first-time home buyer loan? So first, the applicant has to be deemed eligible to be able to put an application in. So typically, we like to start the process at least a month in advance before a buyer goes out to look for homes. It's a lengthy process. We kind of say it's almost like a part-time job, and we do have to have an approval prior to a client actually putting a contract offer in. So again, it's usually about a 30-day period, and to be eligible, there are several items that they have to meet. So the first, like I said before, they have to be a first-time home buyer. They can't have owned a home in the last 3 years. This applies to anyone living in the household that is above the age of 18 and is not a full-time student. So even though you may only have one borrower on the loan, all adults actually have to be first-time home buyers. And that's classified as that you can't have owned a home in the last 3 years. As far as the income goes, it's a household income loan. So it's, again, not just the buyer that's on the loan, it's all adult members in the house above the age of 18 that's not a full-time student. They want to make sure that the income requirements are met so that the people that are actually getting this loan really need it. They don't want someone making $50,000 a year, but their spouse makes $200,000 a year, and therefore they really don't need this program. So it is all household income adults. So what that means is if you have a borrower that's married and they make $60,000 a year, and they have a wife who cannot be on the loan. Let's just say they don't have the credit to be on the loan, and they make $40,000 a year. The total household income would be $100,000. We would use that to look at the qualification guideline for income for either two people, or if they had kids, for however many kids or total occupants in the house. And then that is what we will start off with before doing anything else to make sure that they are eligible for the income. And again, the income's based on total number of occupants in the home. The second thing is the applicants must be United States citizens or legally permitted with a valid documentation. So if they're not a citizen, then we'd be looking for a green card or a permanent resident alien card, visa, things like that. DACA members are not eligible for this loan program. The other kind of stifling guideline here is the credit. So all household occupants, whether they're on the loan or not, have to have a minimum 640 middle credit score. So these are some of the challenges that we face with this loan program. Now, if they don't have credit at all, that's fine. But if you had a borrower with a 650 and a spouse that had a 600, then they would not be eligible for this loan program. All members of the home must live in the home as their primary residence. So in other words, no non-occupant co-borrowers or inhabitants can live in the home. Now, as far as the financial aspect goes, for this program, a minimum of $1,000 is required to be put into the transaction by the loan applicant from their own funds. Now, this borrower is going to actually be going through the Virginia Housing Loan Program. And Virginia housing requirements are that the applicant has 1% of the purchase price either into the transaction, in the bank, or in liquid assets such as a 401k or TSP. Now, the good news is they do have to have $1,000 out of their own pocket, but the rest can come in the form of a gift from a family member, a blood relative family member. The other important aspect to know is that all borrowers on the loan have to each complete the Virginia Housing First Time Buyer course, which they can take online or they can take it in person. But we have to have that course completion certificate submitted with their application to Prince William County. So that's one of the first things that they need to do is take this Virginia Housing Counseling. It's not a pass or fail. It's just a process they go through that teaches them the ins and outs of a mortgage, the importance of paying on time, keeping debts low, keeping credit up, and being a responsible buyer. Now, as I said before, the Prince William First Time Home Buyer Program is in conjunction with Virginia Housing's First Time Buyer Program. So anybody that wants to apply for this program has to apply with a approved mortgage lender through Virginia Housing. Atlantic Coast Mortgage is an approved lender through Virginia Housing, but there are several lenders out there who are not. So it's very important that they're working with someone that is on the approved list. And as I mentioned before, we are a top producing mortgage team in Virginia Housing. Now, as far as credit goes, I mentioned the 640 credit scores, but there's some other regulations that they have to follow or meet. The first is a borrower cannot have any judgments, charge-offs, or non-medical collections within the past 12 months to be eligible. So if we pull their credit report and they have one of these items in the last 12 months, they would have to wait until 12 months from that last item to be able to apply for this loan. No household occupant can have engaged in any payday loans, debt consolidation, or credit counseling services within the past 6 months. So these are usually looked upon as negative when there's a credit counseling service that is going to consolidate debt and pay it off at a lower cost than what's actually owed. So if that or a payday loan or anything to basically kind of release some of the financial responsibility the borrower has, it has to be outside of 6 months. Also, 2 years must have elapsed from any bankruptcy discharges. So we look at the discharge date, and it has to be at least 2 years before being able to put an application in. And lastly, if a first-time buyer has had a foreclosure or a short sale in the past, remember, a first-time buyer is considered 3 years from not owning a home. They will have to wait 5 years from that completion date before they can put in an application. Now, here's one of the really, really cool things that I love about this program is that not only can the buyer get between 23 and 33%, depending on their income level, they can also stack this with other Virginia housing grants. So Virginia Housing has a grant program which gives a 2% true grant to a buyer in addition to the 20 or 30% that they're getting. So 1% has to be put down, but because they're getting the grant from Prince William County, that's covering that 1%, and they can get an extra 2%, which is pretty amazing. So they technically get 22 or 33% in down payment assistance, or 22 or 32%, and then plus the extra 3. So they're getting a total of 25 to 35% in the down payment assistance, which is just amazing. Now, there are income limits, as I mentioned before, and the income limits do have to do with the total household occupants and their percentage of the HUD AMI, which is average median income. So to be eligible for the 30% grant, it's going to be 60% of the HUD income. So to give you an example, if we had one person as a household occupant, the max income that they could have would be $68,880. We'll jump up to 4 if it's a family of husband, wife, and 2 children. They can make up to $98,340. That's going to permit them to be able to get the 30% down payment grant. If they're a moderate income household, then they can make a little bit more money. So this one's going to go by 80% of the AMI. So we're going to have one household occupant would be at $74,800. And if we went up to 4, we're looking at $106,800. So they're not overwhelming numbers, but Prince William County, again, is making sure that the applicants looking to get this down payment assistance program actually really do need the money. So as far as getting this grant, it's not the easiest in the world. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of patience. But the good news is we have closed several of these, so we have experience. We have a great relationship with the Prince William County board for this program, and we know all the ins and outs and the specific guidelines and the way to actually do the loan as far as from beginning to end. So we do have experience in this, and we would love to help your clients achieve their first time home buying process with this great grant program. We just need to get an application from them, have a discussion to go over all of the details. And then once we've done that, we start the process with them. We get them in touch with the Prince William County office, and we go from there. Again, we need about 30 days to get an application submitted and approved from Prince William County. And once that happens, then the buyers can go out and start looking for a home. So I hope you found this information credible, and I hope you have found it exciting for all of your first-time buyers that may not make a lot of money and think that they'll never be able to buy a home. And I hope that you have found this information great for being able to spread to other members within your office. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. The best way to reach us is by emailing us to teamchurch@acmllc.com, and we'll be more than happy to answer questions. and to start the process with any prospects you may have that's a first-time home buyer that you think would be eligible for this wonderful program. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we look forward to serving you and your clients.